the biggest threat, security threat for your data is not from outside, it's becoming from inside, by the way.
He's a seasoned C-suite technologist with more than 20 years across financial information and oil and gas facilities management. He is a member of the original ICANN steering group in 1998. Mr. Khalid, welcome with us.
I can tell you about this Iran war. There was a big amount of data that was actually siphoned. They were able to do it not by getting into any inside a network layer. It was actually outside on the throughput, on the cables, underwater cables. They went to that much.
Something that gets stuck in my head is, the life cycle of a data center in general, they say, is between 3 to 5 years.
Everything
Right.
is logically connected because there is harmony around us. So even in the work we're doing and in the operations in the companies, small or big, needs to have that harmony.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back with us in an episode of Stars in Our Sky podcast, where we look everywhere in the world to find bright, shining stars that shine in the sky, that their light is so bright you can see them from anywhere in the world. We definitely have a star for you today. Special person, distinguished, I would say, we've met at a conference speaking, and we're like, he has to be here. That's a real star. Let me give you a brief introduction to our star. He's a seasoned C-suite technologist with more than 20 years across financial information and oil and gas facilities management and online marketplace. He is a member of the original ICANN steering group in 1998. That's something to state there. The body governing global internet naming. He's the speaker at the Oman AI Summit, SHRM, MENA, and TechNext, where I met him. He has Oryx Maestro, his flagship data ops and AI ops platform. You're about to learn a lot about AI, so stay tuned, pay attention. Compresses complex AI readiness and real-time decision pipelines into simple, user-friendly enterprise UI. The core belief is data, not AI model, is the true engine of enterprise value. Mr. Khalid, welcome with us. All right.
Thank you so
welcome,
much.
Khalid.
I hope that I actually do shine and I do well
You
here.
definitely shine.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that very beautiful introduction. Thank you, Malak.
Thank you. Mr. Khalid al-Hosni stood on stage and had presence, and right before even opening his mouth, it was, AI was a buzzword. We all went to the conference trying to figure out what the next trend is. And he was already worried about the next trend, and he was trying to calm everybody down. And he's like, take it easy, kids. It's not as bad as they make it sound. That's literally how it sounded to me. We're a bunch of little anxious guys sitting down, getting worried about what's going to happen next. But what we like to do on our podcast, before we deep dive in all the stuff, because in our opinion, you're such a star, we want to let people get to know who Khalid al-Hosni is. Who are you? Tell us a bit about your story, the journey, how, you went from being a pilot to all of a sudden running one of the most powerful data management companies in UAE and in Oman and in the MENA region, and actually I would say globally, not just there. So tell us a bit, who are you?
This podcast is sponsored by eSky, a revolutionary AI-powered state-of-the-art learning management system for small to mid-size enterprises.
Okay, so let me start with my basic university studies. I've actually studied in Seattle, Washington. And from there, I was, my eyes opened up to, how the whole world really is being run, and especially at the advent of the internet at the time. So I decided I wanted to be a part of the internet at the time. And obviously, I was a student. So I thought once I go back to my original home, Oman, I will start somehow. By God's grace, I don't know. When I came back, it's like not even 6 months after that, after I came back after my studies, that I was actually connected with the ISOC, ISOC.org. That's the Internet Society of the world. At the time, it wasn't as big as it is now. And of course, all the DARPANET, you know DARPANET, it's the main network that actually took care of the internet, of the routing of the internet. At the same time, also there was, at the time, Network Solutions, which is, I think it's gone now, but Network Solutions, which was actually owned by the Pentagon, by the U.S. Pentagon. And so at the time, we decided, as part of the Internet Society, we said, okay, 80 different people of us, we decided we want to be the registrars. You know, you have to register, right? When you go like GoDaddy, everyone knows GoDaddy now. So GoDaddy
Yeah.
is a registrar. So there are registrars, and I'm talking about the very first registrars other than Network Solutions. At the time, it was only Network Solutions. So we wanted to be the ones in the whole world, and I was one of them. I was the only one from this part of the world, this whole hemisphere, I should say, actually. So we've decided to do that, and we actually went together, and John Postel, Jon Postel, he passed away, but we used to call him the father of the internet, and he was with us. There was a thread we used to call Songbird. At one point, we asked the US government to actually do something about giving away the registration, and the US government, Pentagon, there's no way they will respond. So we decided to do something drastic, and so we went and put the internet to sleep. That was in 1998. We put it to sleep. No internet all of a sudden. And so they had to move. It was President Clinton at the time, with Ira Magaziner was his secretary, who was in charge of these things. They actually went all the way to John Boston, to his house. He was in University of Southern California, San Diego. And that changed the whole thing. And from there, we started having this thing called ICANN instead of, it used to be called IANA, Internet Assigned Names and Numbers Association at the time. So we worked on that and made it into ICANN, which is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, which takes care of .org, which we call top-level domains right now in the world. And from there, we decided, okay, you know what? At the time, in the year 2000, we went to China to host the first China Internet Summit in the history of China, because just 2 weeks before we were there, it was the last person that was actually jailed because they used the internet. So 2 weeks later only, we were with them. You can look it up. We were with them to actually inaugurate the very first opening. It was June 2000.
So you were one
China.
of the first guys
And
that like basically launched the World Wide Web and its registry and got everybody on the ICANN to actually start having the real domains become more accessible to the public, to the world.
Well, it's many people, but I have to be clear here that we were the hosts. We were under our auspices, 25 people. Someone was from the White House, someone was from American Express, someone was from Microsoft, all of these guys. And I was the only one, as I said, from this part of the hemisphere. And we went to China to inaugurate the very first Internet Summit in the history of China in June of 2000. So obviously, doing that and being there, I've started getting into machine learning. And AI at the time, obviously, you can't speak about it because of the speed. It's all about resources, speed resources. And this is exactly why, I had to actually keep it aside and get into other places. I went into oil and gas. I went into banking. I went into I started the first bureau, the credit bureau, private credit bureau in Oman, and with the help of the international bank, actually. So I would say all those years, I was still just thinking, I wanted to do something more, going back to the days of the internet, and there was a ceiling, and that ceiling, before it was lifted, I've decided to get into flying, because I always wanted to fly. And by the way, I'm not a commercial pilot. I'm just a private pilot. So I decided to do that, and I know when I did that, one main thing that actually, really enlightened me is the very first time when I flew myself, not being in a plane, but flying a plane, I started seeing how, my vision, my macro vision can actually be seen from, like, when you say a chopper view, that's exactly what actually opened up in my eyes. And I started seeing, I like something called uh, logical design. Now, if you ask me what logical design is, to me, it's actually everything in this whole life and world is about logical design. There are no communication, not between people, not between air and people, not between buildings and people. Everything has to have an element of logical design. So from that aspect, I wanted to really get into. So with the advent of AI, when the GPUs were released, it was just, for me, it's just like, a breath of fresh air, really, getting into it. And immediately I'll jump into it. And I'll give you some space here. Maybe you want to ask some questions, but that's really how I moved to where I am today.
So,
Amazing. I mean,
Khalid,
I
while we're
flew
talking
before.
about the ICANN stuff, while we're talking about the ICANN stuff, you helped in that started 1998. Did you say?
No, 1998 was the
Mhm.
issue where we wanted to take the registration away from network solutions and give it to international registrars. And at the
Yeah.
time, IANA, before ICANN, it was IANA, Internet Assigned Names and Numbers Association, but it was actually mostly American. And so the only way to do that is to introduce new registers, international registers from all over the
Yeah.
world. And then, on top of that, the Internet Society, because everyone in the Internet Society were the main people to actually work on that, like the WWW, the triple W, the World Wide Web, like all the HTML, the markup languages, everything was actually within those groups only. It started there. And so the jump was to get from IANA, and that's where ICANN took place slowly, but it took about over 2 years to actually come up.
Well, that sounds like a great progression. I mean, it's like, and I think you, it sounds like you were very patient with this whole experience. So I just want to ask a quick question. So when you talk about the creation and the ecosystem of ICANN, how does that founding principle live inside Oryx Maestro today? So let's introduce Oryx Maestro.
Well, Oryx Maestro, it was a challenge. It was a great challenge, actually. And I would want to say that the challenge was not for me per se, but the challenge, the bigger part of the challenge, I had my own challenges, obviously, don't get me wrong. But
Oh
the
yeah,
bigger side
so
of the challenge, the bigger part of challenge was actually the the audience, and we work with enterprise. And so, with enterprise, something like this, when you talk about data, okay, they want AI, but they don't want to let go of their data. How can you do that?
yeah. What do we do with that?
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, you know what? We have come to a point where we've developed something called, we come up with our own like synthetic data. So we create it from thin air, but it has to do with their domain, obviously. So we do that, and then they come and say, yeah, but that's not our data, so it does not actually take that kind of weight for us to actually build on, which is correct. Then we say, okay, give us your data. And so we say, okay, we have to sign NDAs, and we do sign the NDAs. And then 8 months later, 8 months 8 months, imagine. In the advent of AI, 8 months later, we're still waiting for the data. And this was actually an epiphany that after 2 years of this, and by the way, I'm talking about places like in Saudi Arabia, in Oman, in UAE, in even Germany. The very first project we did was in Germany. The problem was the same everywhere. Now, after all of that time, we found out they actually had a problem to reach their own data. So that was a huge issue. So
That is crazy.
no wonder why they don't actually give. So one is they don't have the laws. They're not sure. There are new laws that came, because normally you don't give this data. I mean, the end game of your data until the advent of AI was what? Was archiving. That's it. That's the end game. Now you're telling people give away your data, and they don't know how. One, they don't know how to get their data. Two,
Yeah.
and this is a bigger deal actually. We found out that, and get this, more than 80% is on paper.
No. In
Yes.
2026?
Yes, 2026.
You must be dealing with the hospitals because
No.
Yeah,
See,
you must be dealing with the
you're
healthcare
you're
system
forgetting
in the
something.
US.
yeah.
No, actually, I'll tell you, you're forgetting something very important. See, in our field, we don't go and ask for 2026 data. We ask for the past 10 to 15 years.
Oh,
So
yeah.
okay.
that's
Oh,
where, yeah, of course.
That makes sense.
I mean, of course. We can't, I mean, there's, whatever we do, we have to have ample data. And that's exactly how you can actually look at
Or
all
data
the,
points.
So then how do you transfer it from manual, like from paper to electronic?
Oh, it's not a big
Or
deal.
you don't?
No, we do. Oh, no, we have to. How else do we
Okay.
read it? But
Yeah.
that's not an issue. I'll talk about something I'm dealing with right now. And so this thing you just mentioned, we've done it yesterday, really yesterday morning, for some of these, an institution. I'm not going to name the institution, but this is a very, very large institution. And they wanted an AI pipeline, okay? And they thought, just AI. It's like AI just in the out there,
Yeah,
like
on the cloud.
as I said, just get the lamp, just
Yeah.
Yeah, just rub it a little bit.
just touch
Rub-
the ground,
Wait for the genie to come out. Yeah.
rub it from outside, and wait for the genie. Exactly. So to make sure that we do that, we actually made a program we called it Genie.
Nice.
We did.
Excellent branding.
Yeah, Genie. We called it Genie. Okay. And then later on, we went and we were actually speaking to this very large institution in Saudi Arabia. And somehow we found out that they have another system that was just like ours, but it was called Aladdin.
Oh, there you go.
So Aladdin and the Genie, get it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Here we go. That's
Yeah.
Gotta get them to
So-
start talking to each other.
Yeah.
so.
So
If you have a
this-
company and you don't know what to do with your AI journey and you need a genie to come, you just rub the genie and Khalid Hossein and his team are gonna pop up in your. That's how
Hey,
it works.
Are you trying to say that I'm the genie?
If you can make it happen, because
No.
I heard you I heard you say decision makers are chasing AI like it's a magic pill, while
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
ignoring their legacy data, right? So how do you convince a board that data readiness has to come first? I mean, that must be the biggest challenge. Where do you start?
It is. Absolutely. But there was something new that came up, and it's like it's a challenge for them. And we thought, oh wow, that's an excellent place for us. And we're doing very well in that. And that is actually every country, every government now is requesting those the largest government institutions and the largest institutions in business to actually have what we call data governance, right?
Oh,
And they
yeah.
have to abide by it. Yes. So what we have is we went and we did actually a end-to-end data governance automation that does that for them where we have a roadmap that we give. There's a very clear roadmap that we're giving, and they have to. There's like the very first and second points of the roadmap that we have to sit with them, because there are policies, right? And these policies for for basically classification of the documents, document classification. That's the policy side of things. So they need to do that, and we help them. We've even given them how do you actually classify policies, to that much. And then after that, the roadmap has like 7 like steps. The first and second only involves them. After that, it's all automated. But we have also a human in the loop. So what this opened up, it did not open up only for data governance. It actually opened up for governance, for access control. Imagine, because you have to have access control for their own people and for third party. So we help them with that as a given. And while we're doing that, we made AI readiness. Remember, I was just talking about the documentation, what have you. So when you do that, then we actually like ضمنيا within, we actually allowed them to have their data when it arrives here into Maestro being AI ready immediately. And then we have the pipelines where we have agentic AI, we have LLM pipelines, and we have AutoML. All of those are built within Maestro, so they can actually use them immediately. So that creates a huge deal for them, yani 5 in 1 instead of just 1. And that really is the one that turned the ball, and it's turning the ball much faster right now, by the way.
I feel like we're talking beyond ChatGPT, right?
See,
Yeah, mate.
here we go.
That's as far as my knowledge base.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. See, and this is very important for the audience. Everyone, when they speak about AI, they mention ChatGPT number 1, and then all the other guys, like Google,
Claude, Gemini. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing. If you are an individual user, I can understand you today, this morning, you start by wanting to know, oh, how can I make a banana cake? I understand that. 10 minutes later, oh, can you tell me how I can get this thing about a bicycle? Fine. 2 hours later, oh, I want to I want to go on this flight to so and so. Where can I find that, whatever, right? That's understood. But when you go to the enterprise, and that's where we are actually, it's a totally different ball game. You can't even bring you're not supposed to bring ChatGPT. Some of them do, and they don't know that they're running huge risks doing that. Not only that, they can't get the benefit. Why? Because either they take their data, their proprietary data, and by the way, when we talk about enterprise, and I'll tell you this, at least 60 to 65% of their data is not their data. You should know that. It's their customers' data, right?
Yep.
So there's a huge responsibility that is there, right? So you need to classify all of these. It's not just so therefore when we by the time we get to the point of we allow them to have their data in a watertight environment, right? In a framework like ours, like Maestro platform, then you would see that you can't just penetrate anything. It's it's closed. I mean, they wouldn't allow also. So we will get to a point where no more that you need this very extra large language model. No. You need your specific context model, very contextually specific to you as a company, as a business, as a government agency even. So that's
maybe
one.
Rian, before we started talking, when we were prepping, you were talking to me about how does this affect cybersecurity. Maybe that's a good segue for you to kind of talk about that, your questions about cybersecurity, etc.
Consult.org, redefining global consulting, delivering world-class solutions through proven methodology, measurable and sustainable results.
Well, yeah, Khalid,
for
I
me?
mean, this is something that's been coming up with, we've been talking to a few people around AI, and, my company is doing a lot of work with a massive data center acquisition company, if you want to call them that, because they're like all the guys out there now. They're just acquiring, all the smaller data centers and all that kind of stuff. And that's one way to grow. Their systems are absolutely crap because we basically just, we're finding that
I agree.
it's moving so fast that people don't want to look back at their, legacy data and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you just take how many billions of people are on Earth, how many emails do we still have from 30 years ago or 20 years ago? It's crazy that we store these things. But one thing that's come up is cybersecurity, and specifically, with like the data center companies and how fast this is moving. So cybersecurity, we feel like it's moving into like the data layer, not just the network. What does that mean
Okay.
for CISOs who haven't caught up yet? Because I've got a feeling that a lot of people are catching up and trying to catch up. What's your feeling about that?
I tell you, we deal with national security agencies also,
Oh, yeah.
and I can say this to you, not in different countries, and I can tell you this. I can tell you, I found out, and it's actually very frightening that, when everyone talks about cybersecurity, we're really talking about network security. Let's be clear, network security, network security. But now that takes me to the next point, or the point that I actually made, which is the move, and this is a move that most people in the whole world are actually not aware of. It's happening, but they're not aware of it. The move from information technology to data technology. One. Two.
Yep.
From IT security to data security.
Yeah.
One is network security. The other one is data security. I can tell you about this Iran war. There was a big amount of data that was actually siphoned, and I'm not gonna give the name of the countries, which country took from which country, but this has actually happened. This is 3 weeks back only.
Oh, yeah.
And when this thing happened, I can tell you, and please quote me on this, they were able to do it not by getting into any inside a network layer. It was actually outside on the throughput, on the cables, underwater cables. They went to that much, and they were able to actually extract data. Yes. Now, this is where I will say out open. This is where the data security leaps away from the network security, but to the data security. And so the data today, it's actually being sent like crazy. And it's really true. So that's one. Second thing, the biggest threat, security threat for your data is not from outside. It's becoming from inside, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another case. That's a totally different case.
Who then can be saved? Like if we're going to the depth of under ocean cables, right? And I'm sure there's some sort of scanners or something and replicators to take the data and try to make sense of it, or people inside, who then can be saved? If you're a CIO, or you're a chief technology officer, or you're a CEO, you're wetting the bed. You're trying to figure out what do we do?
Exactly,
What
but this
do we do?
exactly, but this is where the data security has to take place. It is not taking place yet. It is not. I mean, most is for transactions only. Only
And
transactions.
there's no rules, there's no laws, there's no international treaties, there's no anything around it.
No. See, make a distinction between the travel of data, of transactional data, like between bank to bank. That's very different, because they have created on both sides this encryption to actually decrypt. But in cases where you are actually sending data, you don't have that, and no matter who says what, you don't have that. So that's one thing from the network layer. But then there is, as I said, the inner within the entity. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And this espionage, by the way, right now, the way it's not going outside through those traditional network layers. They're actually going inside. So they have to have someone inside, if you know what I mean. So this is where data has to actually start taking a different kind of.
Let me stop you right there and translate this for Mr. and Mrs.
For me.
Everybody. Yeah,
For me
I
too.
mean, I was going to say, so if you're running a company, what is your recommendation in the simplest terms possible to fortify the cybersecurity of your company so that you reduce that risk?
Okay, not from the network layer. This is from the data layer. And what you would do, first things first, is you have to actually have a fresh a governance of your data and the access control of the data. These are two things. And by the way, access control is not like, oh, I give a privilege to person A or person B. It's not like that. There are actually thresholds that go inside, meaning there's a time, a number. How many times did you actually take this? If you want me to go, dive a little bit deeper, how many times did you take this very classified data? Did you take it once? Did you access it once, twice, 3 times? You're not supposed to, for instance. So that's a flag. Another flag. So there are flags all over the place. This is something for this person that you mentioned, the CIO. And there's a huge list of how to flag those things, by the way. But you need to have them in place.
Well, and it's an interesting situation. I mean, Khalid, you touched on it with the cables underwater for the internet and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's amazing to me that, just basics, and I'm just making a comment there. I probably don't have any questions on it, but it's amazing to me how many people think that the internet is just out there on a cloud somewhere, just like it's just this phantom thing. And, the use of satellites and space and all that kind of stuff. Meantime, continents are just, connected through cables underwater. So, and that's the fun part. So, you've just raised a big question in my head, like, how safe are those connections? I mean, is it, is the security around it, like physical security, is it guarded by the countries themselves?
You can't.
You can't.
No, you can't, Rayan. Even for instance, we did for one underwater cable routing company, and they wanted to do a BCC practice, and so we went and worked with them, and then when we did that, we found out how they are actually layering the cables, and also how is it easy or how hard is it for you to actually get to it. Now, resonance, you guys know about resonance, right? You can do some through resonance you can actually go there, just have a diver, let him take all his time, ample time, give him some sandwiches and all of that, 4-6 hours, and he can actually get some data for you. He will snatch some data for you back.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm a diver, so maybe I should go start making a living out of that. But
there we go. Not snorkeling though, yeah.
No, this is deep water diving. I'm quite.
Yes.
That's, to me, it's very surprising to think that we all just data, and all of our personal information, the dark web. We've got all these these things happening.
Yeah.
And literally, it's a cable under the sea that's carrying all that stuff, and we trust that.
And the thing is, the thing is here, can you govern from the source? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, no one is doing it, but people have started doing it. But now it's mainly national security. But even national security, I have to say this.
So is data encryption a thing? Like,
no.
Is it really happening? Because my understanding, and we had a person that came to talk to us about data security, and another one about quantum computing. Is with quantum, I don't even know if encryption makes a difference. Is it?
Look, here's the thing. Do you think Do you think you'll go today? Forget quantum now. Do you think you can go today and use the 1975 methods for cybersecurity, and you will actually stand a chance to keep away all those people who want to intrude? Can you do that?
No, 100% no.
Exactly. So to be just like AI, before AI came and when AI started, actually, every AI, this AI, that, and now we're just about I don't know how long, but I predicted maybe 2028 quantum computing, and you know what? Even that, I don't think is going to be. See, the biggest problem with quantum computing, I don't care who's listening and who's in quantum computing also. I really don't. I would say this, and I will stand by this. The stability is not there yet for the quantum computing. I can say it
I just
openly.
want to, Khalid, just because I know that, like we said, most of the CEOs or out there, including our audience, may not know AI limitations, right? But even quantum, as we were just throwing it like left, right, and center, we have no idea what quantum is. So maybe explain to us, like, what is quantum? Why is this the data preparation for the future? How do we how do companies prepare for that movement then?
I guess it's just like everything else. It has to come in place slowly, and that's the only preparation. But the thing, just like AI, like, can we start with AI first so that I'll take you to
Yeah, of
quantum.
course. Yeah.
Just now we said that these data was actually siphoned, and why were they? The question is why. It's because the decision making is very slow. That's my answer. Decision making is very slow. Okay, now what is data today? It's the lifeline of any business, of any work, anything. By the way, we're moving, and we're not there yet. But the title here, we said data is the new gold, right? So let me tell you, no, it does not feel like it is the new gold yet. No, it doesn't. And I'll be honest, yes. But there's a reason why. Because, gold is gold because they started actually trading it and giving it its weight, giving it its place, and polishing it also. Guess what? The polished gold when people wear is so much more shiny, and people can actually equate, as opposed to the gold that you are using in production, for instance. So same thing here. AI now, sorry, I meant data. Data right now, it's unpolished, it's dirty, it's all over, it's scattered.
So interesting.
The data owners are not giving it its weight. And therefore, don't be surprised when you see that it's not that gold yet. But rest assured, till the last human breathing on this earth, if there's anything that stays always, AI will come, and I won't say go, but it will maybe change, morph into something else,
Evolve.
like many other things that morphed. And quantum will come, and then maybe also morph, if it actually stays, even if it opens. Maybe by then the whole world is gone, finished, it's closed down. So, but data is data, no matter where you go. So someone was asking me, he said, how can you increase dependability of people in the age of AI? And I said, data. What do you mean data? I said, you know what? The people you see when you meet right now, you meet in person. But then if you want anything about them, it's always data. So you wanna enhance anything? Enhance their data. That's
I mean, the way you say it, you just made me look at the world very different, like just in this moment. Because when you think about when we were all naive and thought things were for free, when Google had Gmail, and we're like, oh, free email. And,
right.
and we all like, we can't believe it. We got invited. I was exclusively invited to be part of Gmail. And then we all didn't understand that they were in the business of selling data.
It's boiling
They
a
were
frog.
capturing your data.
Actually,
You've heard,
you said
you
you
guys
didn't
have heard about
understand.
the thing about boiling a frog, yeah? It's like if you're gonna
Yes.
if you're gonna take a frog and just throw it into boiling water, it's just gonna jump out again. But if you put it in the
Exactly.
water and it's nice and cold and it's beautiful and you slowly start warming it
Slowly.
up, That frog
Correct.
doesn't know it's getting boiled, mate. I mean, it's just in there,
Yes.
just enjoying it, on its back,
True.
paddling a little bit. And next thing it's
True.
boiled that we can, do whatever we want with it. And I think, Malik,
Yeah.
to your point,
But
that's the interesting part. We all got Gmails, we all got everything because we want to be cool. Now we're sitting in the situation 20 years later or 15 years later where all of our data is out there and we're so dependent on these companies to keep this moving forward that, I
Correct.
don't see how we're going to stop this dependency on what we started 20 years ago.
I'm
well,
telling you,
I
like
think
we were.
I
Sorry,
think
Khalid, go ahead.
yeah, Malak. To your point, there 2 points were being played to each one of us. Uh, even going back all the way back to the first time that we were introduced to these things. One was I didn't know that they're doing this with my data. One.
Yeah.
But the second thing, hold on, which is till today, till this second I'm speaking, I don't know how much my data is worth.
Oh, what do I do with it?
Oh, no. Before that, see, when you say it's worth, you actually have to be classifying it, right? How do you say something is worth? You have to classify it, meaning compare it with something, right? Everything
Compare
is
it
in
with
comparison
something
in
else.
this life.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you
So
know,
you have to classify it. That's the classification, right? So we can't classify it right now. So that's why we're saying here, let's start with this thing about governance. I don't see it as governance as much as I see it as classification, by the way.
so here's
That's
what
when
I
you get to
learned.
know. Huh?
Yeah, here's what I learned today. Data is gold, and we're all frogs.
That's it, mate.
And I still don't know what quantum is.
Listen, Malak, listen to this guy.
And I'm still trying to
Listen.
figure out quantum.
Because
Listen to
my
this guy.
my wife bought Alexa, and I
Yeah.
wasn't asked. And I was walking in the house, and I asked a question to my wife.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was joking, and next thing I know, there's this stranger answering me about my life, telling me what we're gonna do on our vacation, and I was like, "What?" And then by the time I made it to the basement to go to my office, I started getting ads, like literally by the time about where we're gonna go,
Yeah.
which honestly freaked me out a bit. So we're all frogs. That's
Yeah.
By-
I've been
But
boiling water.
listen to this guy. I went to a car showroom, like last week, and this guy was showing me and all of that. And then while I was just leaving, I said, "Okay, I'll get back to you." And he said, "Can I get your number?" I said, "Yeah, okay, sure, I can do that. But please, you're not giving it to anyone." He said, "No." And then, as he was putting my number inside, he said, "Oh, it showed me, see, it showed me who you are because I can. There's a
Yeah, it
not a
shows at the
caller
top.
ID. You know what I mean? Right." So I said, "Hey, did you know that they take your whole address book? Huh? The whole address book. They take it away from you." He said, "Yeah, I know, but I don't care." That's what he said to me. He said, "Well, I care because I just give you my number." And
That
that
is
opens up to me. People are oblivious. One. And people don't, and I'll say it this way. I have a point for all three of you. If someone says to you right now, not give me, prepare your home address, your phone numbers, your ID numbers, your a specific data of yours. They say, do that, please, prepare. And then they say to you, you know what? This piece of information that you have about you, it's actually worth $500. What will happen to you?
you won't give it as
In-
easily because you want to get paid for it. That's,
Oh no, you
that's-
no, you know what you'll do? You will try to bargain for 600.
Oh, yeah. I think mine's worth a hell of a lot more than that.
Hold on. There's something more important. Then when someone right after that comes and says, "Oh, can you give me your phone number?" I said, "No, I'm not."
Yeah,
What
yeah.
happened? What
All of
happened?
a sudden, it's got value.
All of a sudden it's got value because you classified it, and it's now classified.
Talking about value.
Imagine charging people for your phone number, guys. Think about this.
Khalid,
Okay, so all the
I'm
audience-
thinking about
Yeah.
all of this. I'm putting prices
Yeah.
on everything now, mate.
yeah. I'm just
Instead
not
of
giving it away.
for free.
I'm just hoping that it's like gold and it'll just get more expensive with time. So I'm just gonna hold on to my data for a good 20
Right, I
years and
think
then
your, I
release it
think
all
your
at once.
data is already all over
Yeah,
the
I'll
world.
release it all at
so-
once.
Go Lean It. Go Lean It offers a symphony of efficiency through lean services and solutions, driving scalable and sustainable results. Visit goleanit.com.
Khalid,
Um,
talking about value, I like what you say, and you talked about it in the pre-call about orchestration. I personally, in my company, Go Lean It, I used the branding or the slogan, Symphony by Efficiency, right? So Symphony of Efficiency. And
Nice.
that because I believe in the lean world that everything has to flow, information has to flow correctly. And unfortunately, companies, it's all distorted. It's like always like there's instability in the information and in the material and all of that. So there's no synchronization. There's nothing that kind of goes like an orchestra. And so when I heard you that, I said, oh, that's really interesting. I have to ask Khalid what he really thinks about this from your perspective, from the perspective
Sure.
of data, and see your idea. Talk to me about that. And that's the value.
Sure. So here's what when people ask, when they ask me, what is Maestro about? I used to say it's AI because it's a buzzword, right? And you have to. I mean, whether you like it or not, it's a buzzword.
Yep.
Well, we work with AI and we do AI processing. And I used to actually give like 3, 4, 5, 6 points altogether about what we do. And then I look at people and I say, but they're actually lost, but they never tell you they're lost. And then through all of that and even the time, I found out actually, you know what? It is not that big of a deal. And that's what I mentioned even before the podcast, if you remember. You know, you can have one, and this will guide us, this will take us back to the orchestration, by the way. But this is a starting point. So you can have a very, very rugged, strong, big, large language model, large AI model, okay? And then you can have a very tiny model. And you can probably, at some specific use cases, you can actually have much better output from this tiny model than the large language model or a very large AI model. Question is why? It is nothing but actually having the right data prescribed by the right processing for this data within the right intervals at points where it has to do the checkpoints, because we have what we call graphs, and the graph is nothing but just checkpoints for making sure. And these checkpoints, again, if you go to the individual, they don't have such a thing. By the way, most people didn't even know how to write a prompt. Forget about what to get out of the AI. Let's be realistic. Even how to write a prompt. And
Go back
now
to the
instead
basics.
of prompt engineering, now we have harness engineering. I don't know if you've heard about that, but this harness really is nothing but just making sure that you have a contextual awareness, nothing else. That's the whole idea of it. So from that, I decided, you know what? We don't create AI models. I even stopped, and I'm being very, direct. I stopped my team from they want to develop new models, but I thought, no. See, these models are for some people who are so good at that model for that specific, but we actually cater to businesses, to enterprise, where they need multiple models, and there's not a multi-model model right now that can actually do everything together. Nothing. It's not there. So the best, I wouldn't say the best next way, but the best first way for especially enterprise is actually what we call AI and data orchestration. And so this orchestration is nothing but, you know, the conductor who stands by a symphony.
Yeah.
What are they doing? This guy is working on the flute. The other guy is on the drums. Another guy is working on the accordion. Another guy with the violin, right? And one with the bass. I don't know if any of you have actually been in an orchestra inside, but you know what you hear when you play? You hear it's just berserk. It's not making sense, by the way, if you hear it from right next to you. It's very loud. So the audience, though, on the other side, they hear the harmonized music. And so this cannot be except through a conductor who does this orchestration. So the job of the orchestrator, the conductor, is really to make sure that those tunes play at the right time within this pipeline. And that's what I call AI and data orchestration.
And that's
I
why
love it.
your
I love
company is
this.
called
Yeah.
Maestro, right? Your
Maestro,
app is
yes.
Maestro. Is Maestro?
It is.
And
It is
Gabby has
Maestro.
Symphony. That's
Yes.
match made in heaven.
Yeah, no, I use that term too. Yeah, being a maestro of efficiency, because I think
Right.
that's what it
You
is.
are, you are
It
the
has
maestro.
yeah.
You're the maestro, and then the orchestration is what's happening in front of you. So you
And
orchestrate, right?
and everything you said, I think, makes sense as well with what the world and everything around us is also logical. I think you said you used logical thinking. Everything
Right.
is logically connected because there is harmony around us. So
Mhm.
even in the work we are doing and in the operations and the companies, small or big, needs to have that harmony. So I could see where you're getting that from. That's
Yeah.
it's very good. But I
Yeah.
think practically speaking, right now, with a lot of people using outdated data ops, what would be your suggestion for their first move? Like, because
Oh my God.
outdated, I mean, there's like, the I would even say some people, you talked about manual, some people are in love with Excel, they're not going to let it go. And it's just, we're talking about like really outdated
And
information.
what even
Gabby-
to talk about
Gabby,
PowerPoint
when
and
I talk-
presentations.
But that could be another podcast if you want. So we can,
No.
could do a sequel.
Gentlemen, what you're mentioning is something that makes sense, that if people are still using Excel but guess what? I'm going to mention something else. I'm going to mention enterprise, because we deal with them, who have very mature data ops, only to introduce latency like you've never seen in your whole life, only to introduce multiple areas where they are still siloed, only to make sure that the AI readiness is not even 30% at one go. I'm talking about the same who are running. I'm just this much away from mentioning some names, international names, by the way, of these. They No, I don't think it's not fair.
No,
fair.
it's okay.
And I'll just keep. But I'm talking about the largest of the largest, by the way. Really, I am. And why though? Hold on, I have an answer why. Because data ops is a new acronym.
Acronym.
Yeah, but actually, why is it new? It's because, as I said, the pipeline used to get to the point where it's actually archived, the data. So obviously, no matter how much you do, it's not a big deal, right? You have all the time in the world. Now, when everything went into like real time, right? So streaming data as opposed to batch data. Now, all of a sudden, everyone is jumping, and what can we do? How can we do it? What have you? And so they are stuck with legacy. And then these legacy designers themselves, instead of Excel, sorry, but Excel is, as I said, Excel is logical to me because you have Excel, you don't have much. But when you say you have data ops, but you don't, you actually have something that delays data ops. We have ERP systems today that are going to be nowhere to be found 2 years from today.
Oh, yeah.
Mark my words, please.
Yep.
Mark my words. There are others like CRMs.
And they cost
Nowhere
millions
to
to
be
install.
found.
And they cost millions to install.
People are
that's the
spending
worst
by the
part
way-
of
millions to implement them.
By the way, do you know why though? Because let's take a CRM. It's easier. ERP is very large, many different buckets, right? Let's take CRM. So a CRM, for instance, is what? It's nothing but classification of the data you have, but then it's static. It's not
Yeah.
going anywhere, right? So the only thing you do is actually monthly, if that. By the way, monthly is only what happened the next month. That's the only difference.
Monthly
So then,
updates.
where are we now with data ops? I'll tell you where we are. It is instant, meaning what's happening right now, this second for you. Now, some companies, some institutions, some enterprise, they don't need that for everything. But that's why we have like 2 pipelines. But even the other pipeline, I'll jump now to something called top management. And top management, the way they, till now, I was gonna say they used to, they have to actually ask, and because they're, they're top management, right? So they call this guy, hey, come here. I want to show me. You need to show me. You need to show. Okay. Oh, give me half a day. Give me till tomorrow. Give me till. What? Why? Oh, give me 3 days. Oh, actually, we don't do our reports until the 5th of next month. What? That's nonsense. In fact, top management with data ops, that's what I want to say, and I have to say, with real data ops, like live data ops, okay? They are supposed to be able to dabble with their information anytime they want. With
Yeah.
us, and I'm saying it because I'm very happy that we have, in Maestro, we have something called Gen BI. So the Gen, not Gen AI, but Gen BI. So Gen for business intelligence. So guess what? The dashboard of the top management is not static; it's dynamic. They change.
Nice.
They ask for anything they want, right then and there, with the graphs, with everything, and then a decision-making tool right after that. Say, okay, so then what can I do with this here? Or how can I give it to my marketing? And they say, oh, create a report. So you create a report with a second, with just pressing a button, nothing else. That's
Yeah.
where we are.
That is awesome, mate. So, Khalid, I've got one question, and it's been in my head the whole morning. In your opinion, what is one thing that the AI industry right now is completely getting wrong?
AI industry hallucination, number one.
Oh, yeah. Can you
And
explain
I
that to
want to
us?
give it a different name. Yes,
Yeah.
I want to give it a different name. People call it hallucination. It's like because they're human. So it's like they're asking a human, and if they talk about something else, they're hallucinating. But
Yeah, yeah.
this is a machine. This is a machine, and this is working on algorithms. By the way, it's not just bringing up its own. It's working on a. You give this thing an algorithm.
Yeah.
So basically, the other name for it is out of context output. That's it. I'm not going to make
Yeah.
it very, sexy. It's that only.
Yeah.
Out
Yeah.
of context output is hallucination. And why is it out of context? Because guess what? Why do you go and get an LLM that you can go and ask, can you make a banana cake for me? And the same one you're expecting to actually govern the rules and policies that you have internally? Really? I mean, yes, you can if you have like harnesses. Yes, we do that too. But overall, openly, that is the biggest problem. Until today, they have problems. 3 days back, I saw my partner from India. He sent me something in the Indian newspapers. It goes like this. They say the Indian judicial body, courts, they have decided, I think, I'm not sure, but they have decided to stop using the LLMs in judgment and in writing up like judicial reports.
Okay.
Why? The answer, this big, hallucination.
Yeah.
I have an answer. Do you know why I have? Because I've done a judicial AI myself. So I have an answer. If you go and try to, and by the way, you will not believe that people actually, these things will go by engineers and it'll actually go by. And that's where it takes me to something I said before, which is orchestration. So if we are good at anything, we're good at orchestration and making sure when we do an orchestration, we do a pipeline where we make sure context, it's context aware, number one. Number two, context within the steps stays intact. That's the biggest deal we actually put our effort, because everything else is handled by the LLM, no problem, or by the AI model. So the biggest problem by far is out of context, but for people's reference, hallucination.
This podcast is sponsored by eSky, a revolutionary AI-powered state-of-the-art learning management system for small to mid-size enterprises.
Nice.
Quick
Good
question.
answer,
We
Mike.
just had a 3-part. Yeah, thank you. We had a 3-part series, and for everybody, so people can have context, we're taping this on June 10th. It will most probably be out in July, but we're taping on June 10th. With what's going on, we had a whole series on the power of China.
Yes.
And the Chinese, what we called the X factor. We did a deep dive on the race they're having with machine learning, on the race they're having with specific industries they chose, on how they used cars like BYD, which are full of data, by the way, like they're data capturing machines. If,
Yes.
that's what these cars are. They know where you go. They know they're keeping track of cameras, almost like Teslas.
And they're listening to you. Yes.
They listen to you, right? So another thing that would be listening to me and my wife on a regular basis in our conversations. So with this, and I know that UAE, where I believe you reside a big part of the year, is invested heavily in data centers, and they've just announced a couple of $100 billion in data centers. Is this whole AI thing a hype, or and just to get investors rallied, or there's substance behind it that you see people should get on the train and the bandwagon very quickly?
For who?
You put the context. You're the maestro.
Makes a big, huge difference.
Yep.
For who? Who's the driver behind? I have two answers. One answer is big government. Another answer is the commercial use. Commercial use, you have ample. I'll say it again. You have ample right now. In fact, there is a movement right now that's taking place without people feeling it, where GPUs are becoming smaller, CPUs are jumping in the race with GPUs. There are new data centers that you can create in your own home. So you can imagine how you can do that in the enterprise. Yes. The technology of doing these things is taking place at a very rapid pace. Very rapid pace. By the way, it's also fueled by many people who are against all these data centers, and so they're actually developing them. So a lot of very, very well-known engineers are working on those together to create something like that, where you don't need to have that reliance. In fact, very, very, very soon, the only reason why you will need data centers is for you to comply with the national regulations.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love that.
I've actually seen a few, articles around some of these bigger companies, which you're not going to name. To your point, that'll pay you to have a little data center set up in your garage for them. So you're using the grid, for power, you're using your water, they compensate you for that. Because, this whole thing is starting to evolve, and it's evolving extremely quickly. And I think,
Exactly.
to me, that's probably, something that gets stuck in my head is, the life cycle of a data center in general, they say, is between 3 to 5 years. Where do you see this thing going, except for fizzling out to, Elon's about to launch a data center into space and all that kind of stuff. Where do you see this whole thing going? I mean, because there's so much happening. I mean, it's impossible to keep track of it.
This answers the same question everyone here, all of us, were talking about. The central point was what? Data, right?
Yeah.
So can you see now? Can you see what's going on? It's actually all of those. Let's not call them data centers. Let's call them these centers, these places that are coming up like mushrooms. And they're coming up for what? For data, right? Can you see that? For data. And there's a war that's taking place for data. So I don't have an answer for Elon Musk. The guy is crazy. And he has some backers to actually have his, fuel his craze, it seems. But aside from that, he's playing the same game as everyone else. And the game is, I'll tell you, there are two games. There is one which is like what you call like a fancy game. I'm not going to talk about that. I will stick to the practical games. So the practical game, yes, in fact, and this is very true, the data itself and where it sits, instead of actually like data ops, for instance, now it's being actually a funnel, right? We just said now the orchestration, it's a funnel. It's a funnel. But very soon it's going to not be the funnel. It's going to be the OS, operating system.
I see. That's interesting.
100%.
That is very interesting, actually.
100%. And you will say, then how do you get the data from? Well, you get it from the apps, all these apps we have in our hands. Huh? That's all you need, right? Everyone has a phone in their hand and they have apps. So these apps are nothing but only an access for getting all these, getting your fingerprint, getting your picture, for your photograph, getting your money, getting your agreement, you're getting all of these things, right? It's just a connection. But the connection then of that straight directly to the data ops. That's how it should be. Guess where the data ops are? Data centers.
You took me back in time. Honestly, I don't know what is it that you said. I flashed back a couple of years back. The first time I bought a Tesla stock was after a James Cramer Mad Money episode where he said Elon Musk is the worst CEO. He's crazy. I would never bet on this guy. He's nuts. Of course, now he sings his praises, but that's not what it was. And I remember right after that call, I'm like, I like this madman. I'm going to go buy his stock because people will follow him, not because of anything, because the stock market is emotional, right? And when people ask me, he goes, you actually think everyone's going to have electric cars? I'm like, I'm not buying a car company. It's a data company. No one realizes he just put data on wheels. He just did data connection units, just like the cell phone. And it was the reason why I bought, Tesla stock at the time when everybody was dumping it. So honestly, I love how, within an hour together, you've helped us get the signal through the noise. Because too many buzzwords, lots of words that most people repeat, not fully understanding. And that's one thing I've learned, consulting people. And if you can't simplify it to the way you've just described, right?
What's wrong with quantum? What's wrong with quantum? I forgot.
Exactly. No, but Malak, that was beautiful because when people ask me, hey, tell me, what do you do? What do you do? This is exactly how they say it. What do you do in less than 6 words? I say, okay, AI data orchestration in simplicity.
Beautiful. What a way, honestly, I was trying to conclude and wrap, and you just did it in 6 words. With that, we have a tradition that we love to do, and it's Gabby's favorite part. We do rapid fire questions. It's we shoot questions at you as
Go for it.
as fast as they come.
Get ready.
Instinct.
Get ready.
We want instinctive. We want instinctive. We want to close on a very fun note. And as Gabby gets those ready, you were beyond interesting. If we get a slew of questions, would you be willing to come back to answer some of them? Because I know once we post this morning, by the way, we just hit 17,000 subscribers. That's a huge rise from the 167 that we were all praying to God. I'm like, is this thing going to work? And we woke up in the morning and all of a sudden it started shooting up. So I know we're going to get comments. I know we're going to get questions.
Sure.
Would you come back for another session once we do?
You mean later on? Yeah,
later on, absolutely. Once we did, like in the fall or something.
Sure, we can be in touch.
We'd love to schedule you back. you know, and
Yeah,
maybe
but
get a
but the
panel
next time
of
over,
thought leaders.
next time
I like
over,
how I put
we'll
you on the
have to-
spot.
next time over, it'll have to be actually something that's like very intriguing. So let's
Yes.
make sure that we make it intriguing.
Yeah, I definitely would love that. Definitely one of the most
Sure.
interesting conversation. And I'm very,
Thank
I
you.
would say, and I want to say that out, you know, before it gets lost in the noise in the conversation. Beyond proud that we have thought leaders coming out of the Middle East, coming out of Arab countries, that could stand out and speak with such clarity, such authority on a topic that most people get lost in. So just want to put
Thank
that
you.
out there, you know.
Yeah.
So Gabby, do your thing, man.
Awesome.
it-
Khalid, right before I start, I'll leave you warm up. What
Okay.
do you got anything to promote from your end about who
Well-
you are,
well-
what you represent, and how you want our audience to connect with you?
Well, actually, oryxmodels.com, oryxmodels.com. That's where we are. And we provide mainly a Maestro platform, which provides AI and data orchestration in simplicity. That's exactly what it does. So if you're a company who you're an enterprise and even a medium-sized company, and you've been suffering because you have so many things to do and you don't know where to start. For instance, I'll give you this. Again, I'm not going to quote other names, but like our competitors are actually people who are global, and what they do is, you get in, and then you have to put all the plugins together, one after the other, one after the other, one after. So it takes you about, I don't know, between 6 to 8 months for your engineers, not for the business users, to only understand how to actually work this whole thing out. And then after that, you start then say, okay, let's now start making some. For us, our onboarding takes about 3 days. And then by the 4th day, you are supposed to actually start getting everything you want. And it's not anything you have to put. It's not like what's it called? The Lego. It's not a Lego. Everything is inside. Every other service other than us is a Lego. We're not a Lego. Everything is under one roof. So I'd say, if you want to work on LLMs, if you want to work on auto MLs, if you want to work on data governance, if you want to really get the cream of your data, and I'll say this, even if your data is not actually ready. So it's like documents. We have an OCR pipeline that actually takes care of it and gets it marvelously. Everything is inside. So in no time, even if you have, by the way, we've done with someone who has 7 to 8 million documents, for instance. So we do that, and no issues at all. So oryxmodels.com.
You're gonna
Awesome.
find
And
the
that's where
link
they
in the
connect with you,
description,
right?
Yeah.
That's where they're going to
Yes.
connect with you.
You're
All
gonna,
right.
you're gonna
Yes.
find the link in the description. So go in the description. You can click on it so you don't get lost. He also brightly for KhalidHosni.com put the QR code so you can scan the QR code to get to it. Now, before Gabby goes straight into this, we've just realized most YouTube channels, most podcasts, analytically speaking, on average, 50% of the people that view don't subscribe. Believe it or not, with the 17,000, apparently 94% of you gets to look at our content, get to enjoy it, but don't subscribe. It helps us tremendously. You want to make us a favor so we can keep getting stars like Mr. Khalid Hosni? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all these bright things. Thank you. Gabby?
All right.
you,
Rapid
sir.
And
fire questions. Are you ready?
May I just
Yeah,
say
go
this
ahead.
also, Malak, to your viewers? I found out, even me, myself, as a viewer myself, I found out that, when there's like a very interesting channel, what I do is I do it because it's actually easier for me with all of these, many things that come on my screen. At least this comes to me, and then I still get to choose if I see it or not. So this is something that I found out, like, I don't need to actually it's not like a subscription where you are actually tied to every single day, but it's there. It comes to you, at least you get the choice to see it whenever you want.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gabby?
All right.
let it go.
Rapid fire questions to you, Khalid. Be
for it.
ready and do not
Go for
use AI to answer these questions. First,
Can I use my hands?
It's already
you
listed,
can
man.
use
It's already
you
listed.
can. All right, we're super happy to have you. Let's get
you.
you rolling. If data is gold, as you always say, what is bad data?
Oh, very, very dirty data. That is actually all this legacy data that most people have. And let me tell you, 80% of the time, it's there.
All right, so we'll call it dirty data.
It is
AI
actually.
without a data strategy is like what?
It's like the engine is running, but no one is behind the wheel.
Good one. Good one. The one dashboard every CEO must open daily.
Maestro.
That's it.
Well done.
Oryx Maestro in exactly 5 words.
Ah, you said 5? No, I said 5. Okay. AI, data, orchestration, in simplicity.
All right. I'm going to throw a lot of things that are going to confuse the audience. Data, AI, or quantum. Which keeps you up at night?
Data.
One word for enterprise data in 2035.
2035. Be ready with your data.
Okay. What's the most dangerous sentence in any boardroom?
We can't give away our data.
And the last one, if your data was a person, would you hire them?
That was the thing I discussed, if you remember. I would hire the data before the person. Do you know why? Person can leave me. Data doesn't.
That's very good.
That's actually very clever. That's very clever. Nice.
All right. Thank you so much. That's awesome, man.
Khalid, we're so honored to have you. It was really one of the greatest, interviews and podcasts. It was a great conversation.
Thank
I
you.
love conversations where I learn something while I'm sitting.
I wasn't even being a host. I felt like I was just being a student. I was just listening.
Come on.
I'm wondering what the listeners are going to be like. What do we do with this? Like, that's
So
It's all about learning,
to
mate.
all our guests,
yeah.
data readiness is not an option anymore, according to Khalid. It's a must if you want to have a company. There's nothing such thing as a company that's too small for data, because every single company has data. At a certain point, you're generating revenue, you have growth profit, you have income. If you have customers, you have data. And like you said, your employees will come and go. The data's the one thing that most probably will outlast your partner or your wife.
That's very
so-
true.
so
100%.
Mr. Khalid, thank you so much for giving us the honor of being with us on our podcast, Star in the Sky. You're definitely a star, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malak. Thank you, Rian. Thank you,
Perfect.
Gabby. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
your time.
much, mate.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome.
All right.
Thank you.